what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
I'm with the band. Music and interviews you're going to like.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to I'm With the Band here on themesh.tv. Very glad to have you here with us. This is Alan Jackson, filling in a little bit and outside of my normal role as some of the hosts of the shows here on The Mesh. Get the honor of getting to host Foot Candle Films and some of our business shows. But today, you get to do something really fun, something I enjoy doing, getting to talk to some of the musicians we have visiting with us here at the Mesh Studio, and we're going to hear some music in a little while. But let me first introduce who we're going to be talking to. We're very excited to have Holly Lorette with us here. Holly, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. So good.
Me.
It's so good to have you here. We also have with us Eric Lavelle. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good. Well, listen, we're going to be talking a little bit about Holly's CD, actually a couple CDs that we've got to talk about, some great range of music and a little bit of the background there as well. We'll jump right into that conversation in just a moment. But before we do, I do want to put out a special thank you to one of our big sponsors right now that's helping make sure the Mesh is happening and moving forward and getting and reaching your guys' ears just like we're doing right now. The Greater Hickory Kia Classic coming up October 13th through the 19th. Right here in lovely Western North Carolina, Conover, North Carolina, more specifically, at the Rock Barn Golf and Spa Country Club. It's a great PGA level tournament happening October 13th through the 19th of 2014. We really want to say thank you for being a part of the Mesh and helping sponsor us this year. And we just want to make sure everybody knows that this event, there's tickets available. You can get more information at www.greaterhickorykiaclassic.com. Really long web address, but just type it out just like it sounds. greaterhickorykiaclassic.com. And, even if you're not a golfer, which I'm not, it's still a fun tournament to go out to and go check it out and see all the stuff going on there at Rock Barn. They put on a really good show. It's a lot of fun. So we do say thank you to Greater Hickory Kia Classic for being a sponsor of the Mesh and helping us let us do what we do. So, Holly.
Yes.
It's really good to see you.
It's
so
good
we
to
actually
see you.
have known each other in the past, and I know a little bit about some of your musical background, although most of my knowledge of you as a musician was probably when you were really young, I think maybe in a children's choir. So, of course, it's come a long way since then. I'm looking forward to talking with you a little bit more. You've got a CD out, Holly Lorette, self-titled album there that we're going to hear some tracks from in a little bit and talk a little bit about. But you've also got another musical endeavor you do with more of a children's flavor to it.
That's right.
Liz, Holly, and the Jolly Lollies, which I love the name, and my kids are big fans of the names too.
Thank you.
So we'll talk a little bit about both of those, but let me just kind of start off in general. I mean, you've got some different diversity styles of music that I've listened to. What was it exactly that kind of brought you into music? I mean, if you could kind of think back, what were some of those early things, those early influences that really kind of set you on that path to say, I really want to do something with music more than just, singing in the children's choir growing up as a kid? What were some of those things?
Well, I guess I would say that just growing up in a musical family and hearing everybody in my family either sing and dance or play an instrument, I knew music was a big part of my soul. And I remember very clearly just being in the house, and anytime my mom was doing anything, whether she was vacuuming or washing the dishes, she was singing. Yeah. And that put me in, I think, the direction that I have chosen to go. And they also, my parents were clear on if you're going to be doing something for a living, you need to be enjoying it. And I've always loved singing, so I knew that was kind of which way I needed to go.
That's awesome.
It's like a natural fit.
Yeah, actually everything kind of worked out together there. Now this album that I've been listening to, Holly Lorette, and listen to the tracks there. And Eric, you were the producer of this album as well, which very nicely produced, by the way, too. I was going to say there's some great tracks, and again, we'll hear some clips and hear you guys play a couple of those songs in a little bit. But talk me through the process of the production of this album. How long did this take? Kind of what was the kind of starting point for it, and just kind of how did it get started up? Well,
all of the songs on the Holly Lorette album, I wrote over a varying period of time, and they were pretty bare bones. And I brought all of those. Most of them, I just brought melodies and lyrics to Eric, and I said, "Hey, Eric, I have these songs. What can we do with them? And then Eric and I sat down at that point, and he brought all of my songs really to life. And from the time that I sat down with him and introduced him to my songs to the finishing project, it was probably about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. All right. So not too long. Actually, we've talked to some people that sometimes these projects just span a really long time, but a year and a half, that's not a too bad of a project timeline there.
When you got other things going on,
right.
and you have to tour and gig and support and what have you. And then we needed to refine the material a little bit. Like she said, she showed up to the party with lyrics and melody, so we were like, well, what the heck we're going to do now? What kind of vibe we're going to put underneath this thing, man? So all that takes a little development. Our friend, we have a mutual friend, Jason Atkins, a really great keyboard player who's actually responsible for introducing us.
He is the reason why we are here.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
He said, man, this girl's got a great voice and she's got some great ideas, and I think you're the guy. I know you'll put your heart into it. So she came to the house, and we started talking about our songs, going through pre-production ideas and the influences that she was listening to and the things I was listening to. Sure. Big T-Bone Burnett fan.
Ah, nice.
So I just said, man, I'm going to try to T-bone this thing as much as I can. And
I can hear a little bit of that influence in there.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I was reaching for that.
Yeah, good.
That whole Alison Krauss, Robert Plant record,
absolutely.
a big influence in my production or thought process for Holly's material. But her voice was so reminiscent of something like from the 30s that it just, to me, in the production value, it didn't need to be overshadowed.
Yeah.
So if we kept it organic, featured the voice, featured the lyric, I think that was the right approach. Now, it's kind of up to everybody else to decide whether if that was the right approach or not, but I think we're pretty happy.
I think it worked for the songs and the voice that we've got here.
I think it worked out well.
Absolutely, I do. Holly, from a writing versus the actual performance of the songs, how prolific a writer would you say you are? Are you one of those writers where you just got tons and tons of song ideas, trying to pare it down is really tough? Or do you really hone in and focus on these are the ones I'm really just going with, and I kind of know in my head these are the right ones?
Right. No, I definitely, if I don't have something to write about, I'm not writing.
Okay.
So if it's not something burning in my soul that needs to come out, I'm not generally writing about it.
So you're just not sitting there saying, I need to be writing, let me just find something to write. It's really purposefully driven songs that you're writing here. That's cool. Very nice. Yeah. When it comes to writing versus performing and actually the recording of the songs, I mean, do you favor more of the writing process? Was the production more a labor for you, or was that as enjoyable as the writing process? The
production, and that was a lot of fun, the whole experience, because this was a first-time experience for me, and just being in the studio and working with Eric and Gigi and other musicians was just a lot of fun. And there was no pressure, really. Because I, have a day job where I am working with children, and then I have my own two children. We just kind of went at our own pace. So when we were able to get back together and work some more, we did. And there was no deadline, and it was just a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's good. So a good, relaxed environment. I
Very
think,
much so.
Probably having the experience with the kids during the day, during the day job, maybe kind of help balance out a little bit.
Totally.
Just glad to come to the studio.
Yeah, you put me in a room with kids all day. Like, let me go anywhere. Like, get to the studio. No, but on the flip side, probably maybe after... I can imagine sometimes recording and producing, there can be frustrations. Maybe things aren't quite clicking every single day. So getting to go hang out with the kids a little bit, kind of detox your brain a little bit. Yeah, I can see that. That's really cool.
Keeps you grounded.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the musicianship going on here on the album. How many different musicians did you typically have coming in to work on any of the tracks?
Sure.
I mean, is it?
I'm going to let Eric take that.
Well, I've got a group of guys that I would like to have a house band name for, like the Funk Brothers or the Wrecking Crew or something like that. I don't know what you would call us, but I use a lot of the same cats who are the guys that play in my band, which are Jason Atkins, keyboard player, Rick Blackwell, he played upright bass, Andrew Marquez played drums and percussion, my wife Gigi Dover sang harmony on the material. Yeah. And then, of course, I played guitar as well as a handful of other stringed
else.
Was it a pretty consistent set of musicians throughout most of the album?
Yeah, it's the same cats throughout the whole album. And actually, it's the same people on the children's record as well. Because those are my go-to guys. I know that I can call those guys. They'll come in, do the job as quick as possible for the client. It'll be done professionally because they're all full-time musicians. This is what they do with their life. So I'm fortunate to have them at the ready.
Yeah.
And they're good cats, too. You know, they're all right people, so that makes a big difference.
Speaking of the Funk Brothers, and just because I'm a film buff, so have you seen the documentary Standing in the Shadows of Motown?
I have not.
Have you seen the Wrecking Crew documentary?
No.
Yeah, it's not to get off subject here, but it's a documentary.
We're all about off subject here, so it's fine.
It's a documentary about the session players in the '60s in California. So they were the Beach Boys. Wow. They did These Boots Were Made for Walking, Nancy Sinatra. They did all the theme for MASH and all this kind of stuff. And it's lineman for the county. What's that guy's guitar player? Well, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
You know,
he'll come back to you. Yeah.
Who wrote lineman for the county? Come on, somebody.
I don't know. Nobody in the studio audience is able to answer that one. Well, you stumped us.
All right. Well, anyway, he's a great guitar player. Glenn Campbell. Boom. There it was. Glenn Campbell. Great guitar player. He was one of the guys in the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
And K Cass, that bass line, and These Boots Were Made for Walking.
Yeah, right.
That's her.
That's her.
On that, all that stuff on the Beach Boys, that's them. That documentary is really great, man.
Cool. See, we worked in a film recommendation. We're not even on the film show, so what do you know? That's really great. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break and let you guys play one of your songs here.
Awesome.
And which song are you guys going to play first?
I think Two Fates.
Play Two Fates?
Whatever the boss says.
And that's one of my two favorites on the album. So you guys can surprise me what the second one's going to be in a little bit later. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Two Fates, and we'll keep our conversation going. And you're listening to I'm With the Band, here with Holly Lorette and Eric Lavelle, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much. Fate of two, one never knew how similar they could be. Born of two different times, their lives before them vastly. What can I say? My heart aches through the day, thinking they each could have stayed. No peace to be had within my mind when thinking they each played a part. That empty space, it still remains deeply enrooted in my heart. Thinking they each could have stayed, thinking they each could have stayed. Twice the same tragedy, a joke, surely this must be. Hand held as I hear a whisper, hope there is, let it be. What can I say? My heart aches through the day, thinking they each could have stayed. Thinking they each could have stayed, thinking they each could have stayed. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, welcome back. We're sitting here again with Holly and Eric. We just heard the song Two Fates, which honestly, and I'm not just saying this because this is one of the songs you guys picked out, but really as I'm listening to this, even my two boys are listening in the car, and that second song on the album was really the one that we kind of just, I don't know, we just gravitated to a little bit more. So tell me a little bit about this song, because I really enjoyed it and enjoyed hearing you guys perform it there. Kind of just talk me through the writing of the song, kind of some of the inspirations there and all.
Right. Well, it's actually ended up being one of my favorite songs as well. That's why we're doing it. It's actually rather a dark song, though. Mm-hmm. My father passed away, I guess it was in 1999. Right. And it was very tragic, obviously, and sudden and sad, and took a lot of healing after that for my whole family, and my mother included. Sure. They'd been married and together for a long time. Yeah. So anyway, a few years later, she remarried, and great guy. Randy was an amazing saxophone player. We were just talking about him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So another musician.
Yeah, another musician. Apparently, there's a theme.
I guess so.
Mama's got a theme.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. But a few years into their marriage, Randy had cancer. And anyway, he died as well. Okay. Kind of depressing. Sure. But so that story, I call it a story, but that song is based on just the tragedy of both of their passings.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, it definitely, the emotion came across. I know it's a tender subject, but thanks for bringing the song to us.
Sure.
That came out of that, I think.
Yeah. That's why it connects, is because it is such a deep felt thing. You know, music is emotion.
Well, it's very obvious when you've got artists that can communicate the emotion through a song as opposed to it just being a process.
Right.
I think
and every time I sing that song, it's very cathartic. I mean, I love singing it. It feels good. It feels like it's getting it out and more. That's good.
So. That's good. Live performing, you a big fan of recording, or you prefer to be more in the studio?
That's a tough question. Mm-hmm. The studio is so it's nice, but then you have Eric going, "Do it again."
You can do better than that. You got to know.
Try that one more
time. Get back in there.
Yeah. At least live, you're not doing it again, right. Even if you do mess up.
Because that moment comes and goes. You can't do anything about it. It's gone.
Right. But the nerves might be a little more live than versus the studio.
Sure. All right, so let me ask you. I hope this isn't going to be an embarrassing question, but I just got to ask. People typically ask about influences and some of the artists that maybe influenced you. I want to know, though, if I was to take a look at any of the music you've got on, whether it's a phone or whatever you listen to, is there some musical influence or some style of music you're a big fan of that people would not expect at all? Maybe your guilty pleasure. You got any?
I don't know about that. I think I'm pretty standard.
Pretty standard in your listening styles?
Pretty standard.
Nothing too far out there.
Nothing too far out. No, most of my stuff is somewhat slow, dark, and depressing.
Well, do you have a couple artists in particular that really maybe you were listening to a little bit more while you were writing the songs?
I love Jenny Lewis.
Okay,
I think I like her style because it's a little quirky and yet pretty amazing. Yeah. So, and Nico Case, I think they're a little off the mark, but really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I was listening to Nico's latest album just last couple months here, so it's good.
Yeah,
it's very nice. See, I always ask that question because I'm embarrassed on my own self whenever Olivia Newton-John pops up on my playlist or something like that. I got to kind of watch feel better about it. So, Eric, come on, help me out. Is there anything embarrassing?
Captain and Tennille. Are you kidding?
Oh, really?
Oh,
that's a good one.
I love that stuff.
Nice.
Plus, they are badass musicians. Yeah. And they're ridiculous. Now, I do have a little bit of an issue with Tennille these days because I believe they're divorcing.
Are they really?
Yeah, and the captain's sick.
No. Is that really?
Yeah.
The studio audience is confirming that. Yes, they are breaking up.
All these years, man. It's kind of meh. So I've had to retire my Captain and Tennille T-shirt.
I actually remember seeing them on the Muppet Show as a kid. That was one of my early memories there.
Yeah. And the Alice Cooper version on the Muppet Show, man.
Oh, yes. Big Muppet Show fan.
Yeah, me too, brother.
What about Eric, for you on the production side? When you're working with Holly and you're kind of recording the songs again, were there any other influences going on, or the things that you mentioned, T-Bone Burnett, and kind of having that as a little bit of a feel? Anything else there that kind of helped influence the production of the album?
Well, basically it's based around the songs and the vibe that's happening. Right. I listened to a band called Tenarwan from Africa, and it's kind of it's hard to say. It's real drony and kind of bluesy at the same time, but it's none of it's in English, so it's real. And there's some kind of sounding things in there too. Right. But the rhythms.
You didn't weave any of those into Holly's album, though.
No, I didn't. But that stuff shows up on the GG stuff for sure. But all that sort of world music is a big influence for me.
Okay.
As well as, like I said, the T-Bone Burnett and some other American producers. You can take the kid out of the metal, but you can't take the metal out of the kid.
Yeah.
And so I come from that world a little bit. That's why I like one song has backwards guitars on it and stuff like that.
I think the Change of Season song has a lot of the more
world thing to it. Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
So that's where I'm pulling some of my sounds and thought process from. Now,
Holly and Eric, too, because I know you helped produce this other album as well. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you kind of have another musical avenue where you work dealing with kids' songs and kind of a children's album. Liz, Holly, and the Jolly Lollies. Tell me a little bit about how did that come about? Was that happening about the same time as the other album, or what was the sequence there?
Well, oddly enough, I had the songs for Liz, Holly, and the Jolly Lollies written before I had most of the songs for the Holly Lorette album written. Okay. But it wasn't coming to life quite yet. And my day job is working with children musically, so I'm the music teacher in lots of preschools. Right. And my good friend and musician, Liz Seegers, does the same thing that I do. We both also teach for music together. So she and I just got together and said, we need to get these songs recorded, and we need to start a band, and what should we name it? And that's where the Jolly Lollies.
It's really cool. It works really well. And I noticed, some of the background vocals sound like you had some kids singing in some of the songs.
Yes, that's Cole and Charlie, my children.
Your two boys. I was going to ask.
Actually, Charlie's my girl, but yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Cool.
But yes, those are my children.
You can't do a children's record without having some kids.
I was going to say, especially if you have your own kids, that's a pre-made band right there.
Now, that honestly was one of the most fun moments, I think, being in the studio with my kids and having them be a part of that. And I'm so proud of them that they're on there, but their faces light up when they hear themselves on the album, and that's just really cool.
Plus, that's that thing you get to keep forever.
Yeah, they'll never forget
their
that.
Moment,
that's right.
Their age and that time.
That's right.
And that's another memory that Holly as a mom and her kids will carry on, man. To me, that's what it's all about.
No, I think that's great. So I was curious if those are going to be your kids when I heard the voices on a couple of the songs there. The Storm song, gotta tell you. Yeah. I get a little terrified of Storm sometimes. So that song kind of did a number on me for a little bit. I'll be honest with you, but my kids did love it because they just thought it was cool and a little on the creepy side from a kid's standpoint.
Totally, man.
Well, our hope for that is because we understand that children, and Liz wrote that.
Yeah.
But the idea is to lessen that fear.
Yeah.
Make it more reachable and more fun.
Yeah. So when I really think, obviously there's a good theme running through all the songs, just about a little bit of self-confidence, making it through tough days. The second song in particular. It's just a really good message. We all have bad days, and kind of what do you do to get through them? And I think kind of messages like that, kids, you can't be too young to start hearing those messages a little more often. So very good. Thanks for putting that out, because I think
we all need to stop and count to 10 sometimes.
There you go, or make some silly noises, whatever it may be. That's right.
Whatever.
Yeah. That's very, very cool. You guys still planning on doing some stuff together, or is that kind of
certainly? Yes, we are
booked. September something? Huh?
Yes, we have September 16th, we are at Charlotte Country Day School for a back-to-school party, and then we're doing a backyard party in Charlotte the following weekend. So we're definitely out there. We just finished a gig at Imaginon, which is the children's theater and library combined over the summer, which was a lot of fun. And we're hoping to do more things like that.
That's very, very cool. I will say, before we get back to the other album, just the jollylollies.com.
That's
kind of where you go website-wise.
The Jolly Lollies.
And I assume they can check out where you guys are going to be performing upcoming.
They definitely can.
All that as well.
All
and
information.
Yes,
and we're also on Facebook. You can like Liz, Holly, and the Jolly Lollies on Facebook.
Liz, Holly, and the Jolly Lollies. But the jollylollies.com is the website to go to there.
Yes.
And it's a great 6-song album, great for kids. We've had a lot of fun listening to it in the house. So very cool there. Now, knowing a little bit, you're gonna sing another song, and I think you told me early on that it may be Gin Mill Days. Is that correct?
That's right.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about that song, because
Certainly.
that one we've also had a lot of fun listening to that one around here too. So tell me the background.
That is another one
that.
of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so Jeff Martin is a wonderful guitarist that I sing and play with in Charlotte as well. And he and I were in a band together for a little while. And he and I have co-written a few songs together. And Jeff emailed me one day and said, he sent me the melody. He said, I have this melody worked out. I think it's a really great melody. And I was out last night at a bar, and I heard these two lines. And the first line was, I woke up on the wrong side of the glass this morning. And he said, and then the second line was, I woke up on the right side of the casket. He was like, I'm thinking you could do something fun with that. Yeah. And that is where Gin Mill Days came from.
That is awesome. Again, it's a fun song, so we'll hear you guys play it here in just a little bit as well. But it was fun to have that on there. So you've got these two projects that you've been working on. You've got these two CDs out there. Are there other side projects, things you're dabbling in, or is it really you kind of got your focus in these two areas right now?
These are definitely my main focus.
Okay.
Yeah, other than motherhood, marriage,
because that doesn't take any time at all, right? So,
2 kids, 2 bands, and a marriage.
I was going to say you got a full plate there. It sounds like pretty good. So, how often do you try to perform and go out and play places? I mean, I know you got
sure. The performing is definitely a balance, but a couple times a month for each is probably where I try to cap it off.
Okay, good deal. The Blue Bubble Studios in Charlotte is where you guys recorded those.
That's
Eric, is that your studio?
It's my place.
That's very cool. Nice name to it as well. So,
well, thanks, man.
Are there some other musical acts you guys are really into right now? Maybe some other local bands that people ought to be checking out, or Eric, any you can refer to?
Well, I produce a handful of different artists.
Sure.
Obviously, I mentioned earlier, my wife is Gigi Dover, so of course I'd be amiss.
You got to mention her.
Mention that, right? That's one of the biggest and best acts coming up. But there's a guy named Chuck Johnson that I've produced a couple records for. He's real good, kind of a Southern Gothic singer-songwriter guy. Doug Thompson, another kind of Townes Van Zandt singer-songwriter guy.
Okay.
A band called Analog Days, kind of just a straight-up hard-rocking rock band. These are all projects that I've been involved in here recently. Robert Johnson and Pam Taylor, kind of a blues act.
Nice. You got a lot of acts going on there.
Yeah, there's probably about a half a dozen projects in the studio right now, and
very cool.
It's really gotten busy the past year and a half. I ended up building a facility, and since we moved everything out into the building, it's just been nonstop. That's unfortunately, I'm suffering from the cobbler's children have no shoes. So Gigi and I haven't had the opportunity to really finish or even start to demo a new record for ourselves. Fortunately for me, it's because I've been so busy in the studio.
Well, it's a good problem to have most of the time there as well. So I did want to ask you guys a little bit, and this is more of a personal interest of mine. I'm curious, with you guys having gone through the process, and Holly especially, I mean, You've entered the music business with these two CDs. You've kind of gotten a little more acclimated to it. You're doing some performing. The music business in general, from your perspective, Holly, of how you getting into it now, I'm always curious to see musicians, how they feel the music business is evolving. Is it making it easier or harder for independent acts to kind of get some notice, to be able to do the kind of albums they want to do? Because, traditionally the music business has been very... it's big studios, it's big labels, and that's kind of where you need to go.
Sure.
Holly, from your perspective, just getting into this, has this been a more challenging exercise than maybe you expected when you got into it, or has it been a lot more freedom than you thought? I think,
when you go into it with no expectations, it's a good place to come from. And I really don't know what I should be expecting, so it's been really nice so far.
Sure.
And I think that... because there is so much media out there, things have felt pretty reachable. And just like Mary Margaret reaching out via Facebook, had Facebook not existed, I wouldn't be sitting here with you because she wouldn't have known about what was going on in my life as far as music goes. And so I've found that it's been a pretty, on one hand, easy place to navigate.
Okay.
But I also am going about it at an easy rate.
Sure.
I don't feel a hot need to, get anywhere fast.
You're not trying to book a big 26 city tour right away or put out another album as quickly as possible. It's
just evolving at its own rate.
Yeah. With that too, do you think, you mentioned social media and the use of Facebook. I mean, has that really been a good tool for you to kind of connect with some of your fans and people listening?
It's been a great tool, certainly. I've had numerous people reach out and say, wow, congratulations, great job. And certainly there's no way they would know I'm doing this otherwise.
Yeah. That's really good. Well, Eric, from your perspective too, just you've probably got a little more perspective on it, having worked with some of your acts. Yeah. There again, the music business, is it harder, easier? Where are we these days?
Well, I'm a lifer, so this is all I've ever done.
Sure.
So I have to be careful of how I say this.
No, I understand.
In my personal opinion, I think the music business is circling the drain.
Really?
It's good for independent artists because you can do these sort of things. I come from a tape machine world when you had to have a giant room with a big console and 2-inch taped, and you had to have a lot of money to go make a record.
Sure.
Now you can do a record like this in someone's house, with very limited gear. So that aspect of it, I think, is fantastic. It's helped my business. It's enabled me to be a full-time producer and engineer. But the other part of it is I think that it waters it down.
Yeah.
Because of technology, you can make a bad band sound good. And so...
That's certainly not what you did with me, though, right?
Well, I used top-rate players. That's why I did that.
All he had to do was just hit the record button and let it go.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think because of all the advancement in technology, as wonderful it is, as well as all the social media and stuff, for everything that's positive about it, there's also a negative. Isn't that the way the world works anyway?
Absolutely.
So I think it's a little harder because there's so much and everything is so accessible, it's all getting kind of watered down. And mediocrity is being looked at with oh, hey, that's pretty good. Well, it's only pretty good because everything else was so crappy.
True.
Remember, in 1970-something, Stevie Wonder and Steely Dan were pop acts.
Right. Yeah.
It's Katy Perry now.
You know, what's really interesting is I talk to a lot of independent musicians. It echoes a little bit what you're saying is that I would be more concerned if I was a big music label with a big act, because I think those are the ones that are suffering right now.
That's done.
I think, probably where you guys are with trying to put out some independent albums and attracting a very focused audience and really connecting with them the way you do. It seems like to me that's really going to be a lot more the way we're going to experience music going forward.
I fully agree.
Is that direct connection, the fact that we can actually chat on Facebook with the artist himself and say, hey, loved your album, it was great. You could never do that before.
Right.
But I also think that that's going to make it harder for those bigger acts who've been used to the big stadiums and the big record sales. It's just going to be really tough for them.
Well, and speaking of record sales, the whole technology thing has been another part of the demise in this is people don't really pay for music anymore.
True. Yeah.
Everything's so free out there, and kids don't buy CDs. They just buy a single song or something, or even worse than that, they just
download it and
get it for free, which for independent artists, that makes it that much more difficult for us to actually make a living. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you could travel around and sell, 1,000, 10,000 CDs and your band would actually make a good living and be able to do something. But now if you sell 10,000 CDs, man, you've been busting your hump because people can go out and buy it. And most of the fans who are buying it are only buying it because they're your fans, your friends, and they want to see you succeed. But all that being said, yes, the fact that you can Facebook, the fact that you can make a record like this, the fact that you can reach people far away, like this podcast right here is going to reach way more people than we would have ever been able to do before.
Sure. Yeah, I think we have three listeners. Is that right?
Well, I remember doing a radio show.
We hear from all three of them all the time. Thank you so much for listening.
I did a radio show in Tennessee, and then we were on the road, and we were in Ohio 2 nights later, and somebody was like, man, I heard y'all on that radio station in Tennessee, and I came out to see you. So technology has allowed those sort of things, which is beautiful.
Well, that's kind of our take on it, too, is we think there's a lot of different ways to reach people nowadays. And yes, the downside is you may have way too many sources of media and entertainment, but at least you can find exactly what it is that speaks to you the most. A lot easier than you probably could before.
I think it's a pretty give and take sort of situation,
Well, another thing too, Holly, what we've seen, the real evolution, you mentioned a couple times too about some house concerts, a little more intimate settings and all that. how do you feel about those? I mean, have those been pretty good for you
great.
and your outlets there?
Yeah,
House concerts
definitely.
are the best.
Yeah.
Because you have the audience that wants you to be there,
Right.
And then
They're
they just
listening.
gather there. Yeah, they're listening, right?
They're not trying to pick somebody
they're not
up
at some
Yep.
bar,
or a
right?
shot.
They don't have exactly other motives. So it's a captive audience, and they're willing to pay you to be there.
That's
So
really cool. We've seen
it's
just a
great
real
thing.
surge in all the bands we've talked to, just saying, house concerts are great because
they're the way,
it's just
man.
such a captive audience and a little more intimate. You can have that dialogue with them in
Right.
between songs. And
Right.
You should get fed well.
connected. Well, there's that too. Especially, I know some of the guys you guys told me you're doing some house concerts with. They do feed pretty well. So
Yes, they do.
you guys are in a good shape on that. So we're gonna let you guys play Gin Mill Days here in just a second. But before
Great.
we do, tell me where can people get more information about the Holly Lorette album and buy it? I know we're going to put links for the iTunes links for people to buy it,
Wonderful.
but where can what's the website for?
Sure, it's
for,
hollylorette.com.
Okay. That's LORETTE.
That's right.
.com on that. So they can find out more information about your touring schedule or where
Right.
you're going to be on that as well. Any upcoming events, things you guys want to really make sure people know about happening soon?
Yes, I do have my CD release party for Holly Lorette coming up on Sunday, October 12th.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Good.
at the Evening Muse in Charlotte, and
nice.
will be at 7:30 that
Very
evening.
cool. So will people, if they're interested in maybe attending that, just go to the website and see more
You
about
can
it,
go
or just show up?
yes,
or-
you can go to the Evening Muse website. You can go to my website. All information is on both, or you can just show up at the
Yeah.
Evening Muse.
Cool.
It's definitely going to sell out.
Nice. I mean, of course it is.
That's what I'm talking about. You're darn right he's going to sell out.
Anything else going on you guys want to make sure people know about happening soon? Anything?
I'm good in that.
I'm playing
way
at
here.
Rufus's house next weekend.
Good old Rufus. We know
here in Hickory.
Rufus has brought a couple people to our attention last year or
yeah,
so.
man.
So good guy there. So, well, how about let's play Gin Mill Days, and
Great.
then maybe we'll try to see about wrapping it up. Does that
Thanks.
sound good?
Great.
All right, let's go
Awesome,
ahead and get that started here in just a second. Then, you've been listening to I'm with the Band here on the Mesh.tv. Holly Lorette and producer Eric Lavelle with their latest album, Holly Lorette.
As I sit alone at the bar, I'm wondering where, oh, where you are. I'm so lonely, can't you tell? This beer-soaked table is my personal hell. I'll take a shot just to see if I can put behind me this misery. 1, 2, 3, why not 4? Oh, now I'm stumbling for the door. Some may say it's okay. I just woke up on the wrong side. I woke up on the wrong side today, the wrong side of the glass this morning. I woke up, some may say, on the wrong side of the glass this morning. As I sit locked up in my cell, I'm wondering now, could this be my hell? At least I am not solo, you see, as Crazy Eyes is sitting here next to me. She's looking like she just might want to know me better. I think it's best if I just knit her a blue wool sweater. Some may say it's okay, I just woke up on the right side. I woke up on the right side today, the right side of the casket this morning. I woke up, some may say, the right side of the casket this morning. As I sit alone at the bar, I'm wondering where, oh, where I'll take a shot just to see if I can put behind me this misery. 1, 2, 3, why not 4? Oh, now I'm stumbling for the door. Some may say it's okay, I just woke up on the wrong side. Some may say it's okay, I just woke up on the wrong side.
And welcome back to I'm with the Band here on the Mesh.tv. You just heard some more music from Holly Lorette and producer and performer Eric Lavelle on that. Great stuff again, guys. Thank you so much for coming by the studio today and talking with us. Again, the CD release party for Holly Lorette is on October, what was the date again?
12th.
October 12th at the Evening News in Charlotte.
The Evening Muse.
Evening Muse, that's right.
That's right.
And just go to the website for Holly Lorette or for the Evening Muse and get some more information there. Or just show up that night.
That's
if you know where the place is and you're available that evening, in or around Charlotte, I'm sure the more the merrier.
But you better get there early because it's going to sell out.
Yeah. It'll be the line. You got to work through the bouncer and all that, So no, it'll be. It sounds like it'll be a fun evening.
Definitely.
So it should be a lot
We're
of
looking
fun
forward
with
to
that.
it.
And again, hollylorette.com is where you can go and just find out more about Holly. Obviously, links to be able to get the album and see if there's anywhere that she's performing upcoming that you can tap into there. Eric, anything you want to plug? Anything else you got going on there?
Well, I have lots of things going on, but I will just go Gigi Dover, Gigi Dover.
People, I assume, do some searching there and kind of find out some of the other music you're into.
GGDover.com, yes.
Gigi Dover, and of course Eric Lavelle. Find out what's going on at Blue Bubble Studios, some more there in Charlotte as well. A lot of good stuff happening. So.
I would like to say that thank y'all for having us and
Sure.
doing this. This whole what you guys are doing is what helps make it possible for people like Holly
Sure.
and myself to
Well,
survive and to do and to get the word out there. So, like we were talking about earlier in our conversation about technology, thank y'all.
Oh, sure.
For taking advantage of this technology and helping people like ourselves.
We have fun doing it, and honestly, I've built my own personal music library just listening to more of the music of people we brought in to talk to. So it's really been great. And I'll be remiss if I didn't mention again the Jolly Lollies. If you've got you want to have some stuff that the whole family can listen to, especially geared to kids, some great music there as well. So just a lot of different options to check out. So we're going to go and close out this episode of I'm with the Band. Holly, Eric, thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you so
And we'll look forward to
much.
seeing you guys again in the future.
Certainly.
Right on.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. And again, thank you to the Greater Hickory Kia Classic for being a sponsor of the Mesh leading up to their tournament October 13th through the 19th. For more information or for information getting tickets, you can go to greaterhickorykiaclassic.com. Again, that's October 13th through the 19th in beautiful Western North Carolina, Conover. The town of Conover puts on a good show with that. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to y'all next time. Take care.
Yeah, Eric, let's go ahead and play one more.
That sounds great.
All right, you want to do Lord, I See the Rain?
That sounds like the one I would have chosen.
Awesome.
Here we go.
Lord, I see the rain falling down today, sliding through the trees. Lord, the sky is gray, but I see love, love, love shining all around. Yes, I see love, love, love seeping in the ground, and it's okay. Lord, it's been a year of taking more than care. No time for yourself, more than your fair share. And you spread love, 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 not asking for return. Yes, you spread love, love, love. Perhaps we all shall learn that it's okay. And it's okay because love's all around. It's okay because we all have found. It's okay because we all are one. It's okay because we all have to learn. This too shall shall pass. I found that we all say wise words they are. They see the brighter day, and I see love, love, love shining all around. Yes, I hear love, love, love. Listen to the sound. Yes, I see love, love, love shining all around. Yes, I hear love, 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 love. Lord, I see the rain falling down today, and it's okay.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.